Millions of people are used to keeping their savings in dollars, and you are certainly among them. But why isn't it the best idea for the next couple of years?
What?
Every day you see more and more big headlines about the collapse of the buck. And let me calm you down right away, the dollar will live on, and that's a relief. But recent events will strongly affect the strength of the planet's top one currency. This is confirmed by the charts. Reputable investors and even US politicians themselves seriously fear for the bright future of the US currency. We'll show you all the proofs, sensational analysis and opinions in this video. We will also predict the buck's future for the next couple of years, and of course, I will answer your main question. Is it worth running from the dollar to other currencies and assets? And if so, when should you do it? A ton of useful information is guaranteed. Let's go. The US debt saga has been resolved. Biden and co. have managed to avoid default. But why is this a wake-up call for the US dollar? Because, as was rightly pointed out by the governor of Florida, prior to this deal, our country was carrying towards bankruptcy. And after this deal, our country will still be carrying toward bankruptcy. Ron DeSantis and a group of other influential politicians and expats did not support the terms of the national debt raising deal. First of all, the national debt limit was raised for 2 years instead of 1. Also, there was no ceiling on the national debt. In other words, there is in fact no limit until January 1st, 2025. Secondly, the Republicans demanded a $4.5 trillion cut in budget spending but got only a $1 trillion cut. Now, nothing stops Biden from turning the printing press on again and handing out money to Americans under the guise of various perks to increase their loyalty in the next presidential race in 2024. The US national debt could skyrocket to around $34 trillion over the next couple of years. And the printing of new bucks, which have been printed an obscene amount in recent years, will start to accelerate inflation again. All of this will have a negative impact on the US economy and the dollar. The US national debt went over $31.8 trillion. It's hard to even imagine what the amount looks like in cash, right? But let me show you. This is what 30 trillion in $100 bills look like compared to the Statue of Liberty. And that's just wow. Give this video a like if you were shocked too, and subscribe to the channel. Here, you'll regularly find useful and up-to-date content for your successful investing. Thank you. And what do reputable people think about this whole money madness? Billionaire investor Ray Dalio echoes our concerns and says that continuing to raise the national debt limit is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. And that won't do any good in the long run. The old Warren Buffett is also concerned that aggressive spending by the US government could have devastating consequences. People's faith that their savings in the dollar will retain most of their buying power over time has been shaken. This means that they may start to reinvest their savings in other currencies and assets in droves. Nothing will predict the future of the dollar over the next 2-5 years better than a chart of the US dollar index. In case you have forgotten, the DXY is an index showing the ratio of the US dollar to 6 other major currencies: Euro, Yen, Pound Sterling, Canadian Dollar, Swedish Krona and Swiss Franc. I'll show you that on the chart. You can see that the dollar has been in this wide declining flat from the 1980s to the present day. Every rise in the index was followed by a fall. Look how clear these slopes are. The drops lasted, as you can see, not as long as the growth, around 3 and 6 years. After the 2008 to 2009 crisis, the dollar rose steadily against other major currencies. And now we see the index pushing away from the resistance line again and starting to go down. It looks like the trend has reversed. Sadly, what was the reason for this dollar growth, you may ask? First, it is the relevance of this currency in the world. In other words, whether it is the main reserve currency or not. And secondly, it is the turnover. About 70% of all payments and savings in the world, all in bucks. Why has the dollar won the palm and gained so much trust? First of all, look at the huge number of years it has been quite stable. And also another important advantage is convertibility. It means that in almost any country in the world, No matter what store you enter, you can pay with a buck. Almost anyone will gladly accept dollars from you and will say the Turks' favorite saying, "Money is money." Can any other currency do that, huh? Are those glorious times coming to an end? As of today, we believe that we have about a year and a half or 2 years of US dollar decline ahead of us. This guess is based on a clear cyclical pattern. Also, this fall will be caused by a decrease in dollar turnover. After all, some huge countries are already giving up mutual payments in US currency. Trust in the US dollar in the last couple of years began to decline rapidly amid its uncontrolled printing. In addition, some of the world's currencies may strengthen their positions in the world. Only time will tell whether it will be the pound or the franc. The growth of currencies in the dollar index basket automatically means a weakening of the world's still first currency.
The US dollar as we know it will definitely be dead in 10 years' time.
Apparently, the political confrontations and problems in the US economy will make themselves felt. And on their backdrop, we will see a serious decline that may begin as early as the second half of 2023 and last at least until the end of 2024. So buckle up, we are in for a roller coaster ride. Our team and I plan to say goodbye to the dollar long term. The dollar will not die, but its purchasing power will decline significantly. Why do we need a currency that is going to devalue so fast? The fall of the dollar should traditionally be accompanied by a rise in assets like gold, Bitcoin, or the S&P 500 index. That is, people will have to shift out of the dollar into other currencies, metals, stocks, and other assets such as real estate. So the choice of assets that can help you not just survive the hard times for the dollar, but also increase your capital is quite big. Write in the comments the best, in your opinion, alternative to the dollar for keeping your savings. But should you run and change your bucks right now or wait and see? Let me show you my logic. Since the end of 2022, we can see a kind of flat. But we cannot predict how things will develop further on the market. Well, unless, of course, you have insider information from the US government. Even if we are absolutely right and the trend of the dollar turned down, the market can be quite manipulative. Artificially pushing the dollar higher before a deep dive is still a possibility. So the dollar may leave the current flat and rise back to the 116 level. Germany is already in recession. That means the euro could still be tossed around, and the dollar, meanwhile, could touch the upper limits of its range again. So how it all coincides? If you're planning to move out of the dollar for the long term, let's say 5 to 7 years, you can start diversifying now. But if you use momentum to speculate, you can do the following. If you see the dollar rise, you can partially get rid of it. On the next growth, transfer the same amount into something else. If it goes even higher, you have to sell off some more. Roughly speaking, the higher the dollar goes, the faster you drop it in favor of other currencies and assets. This area is the decision-making zone. It's obvious to both you and us that this is the zone where you should get rid of the dollar. As the dollar declines, other assets may rise, and you may not only save your hard-earned money, but even increase it. I demonstrated our prediction and the logic behind our decisions. And if you have decided to diversify your savings and move some of your dollars, then the question arises: what is better to invest in? You can learn that in our other videos. Click on any of these and get a ton of useful information and investment ideas. Subscribe and see you soon.